Hi there, my name's Darren and I'm a problem gambler. I've been for since my sort of 17, 18. I'm now approaching 40, unfortunately. But I just want to really put a video out there trying to, give some insight into what I've done and the things I've come across and the things I've found useful and the things I've not really, hoping in the aid it can help people along um, in some way, shape or form. I mean, if you get any benefit, I'm willing to speak to people. I want you to get in touch by commenting to the video, or just don't feel you're alone in any way, shape or form. I mean, problem gambling is become, as it says, a big problem now. The government really don't want to see the revenue lost from gambling, as they don't smoke in and things like such. But it is really bigger than probably they think at the minute. I mean, the figures at the current time are about 450,000, 500,000 people in the UK with a problem with gambling, but they're the only ones that have really seeking any help or are on record somewhere. I think the figure's probably a lot bigger than it is. As a problem gambler, I know, we do things in secret. We become absolutely brilliant liars, um, and it destroys every aspect of your life. But trust me, if you're watching this as a problem gambler or somebody who's looking for a bit of help, I mean, you know, it's it can get better. I mean, we were as a problem gambler. If you are a problem gambler, you're not alone in any way, shape, or form. The feelings that you feel now or have done, the guilt, the remorse, the shame, the depression, the anxiety. I mean, these are all things that other gamblers or problem gamblers experience. It's a debilitating illness and just engulfs your entire life and isolates you from friends, family. It's really a horrific illness. Um, the benefit here for me and what's helped me in the past is the fact that I once, like you, was never a problem gambler, and that's where I take strength from. At some point in my life, obviously before I was 18 and what have you, I led a fairly normal life and enjoyed going out and booting a ball about and just had a normal life without gambling. I didn't know it, and I wish I didn't to this day. However, taking strength from the fact that I wasn't once a problem gambler, um, it can be achieved. I'm not going to say it's hard because I don't like that saying, because that sort of cements the fact that it's going to be tricky to give it up. Um, I think we all know it's tricky to give it up, but it's really down to us guys individually to get through this. I'm not a counsellor, um, or an advisor on gambling as an illness and curing. I mean, I'm just, I've been a problem gambler since 18, and I know, what helps and what doesn't, and I've got more experience than a counsellor, I guess, um, from how I feel and what helps me and what doesn't. You know what I mean? So I hope you found this page and this video, and you need some help. Because speaking to other problem gamblers has helped. I mean, it contradicts itself. Some of the stuff that you read, that you should just stick to one format. There's no right or wrong way. I mean, the goal of trying to cure your gambling problem is to stop gambling. So whatever makes you, whatever helps in that sense, is success, isn't it? Yeah. So there's loads of things available now. I mean, I started years ago on the fruit machines, ended up in the bookmakers, on the fob teas. I mean, they're well documented. You've probably been there yourself, maybe you haven't, but terminals, you just, feed money into them and generally walk out with nothing. The problem for me with gambling is I've got it's not about the money for me, it's about just spending the time gambling. The longer I'm gambling, the better it is. But eventually it whittles down to nothing, always has done. And then that's when obviously the problem starts. I can't gamble. Today's different. I'm in a good job. I've sort of, in an element, turned my life around, but gambling still causes me no end of grief, and worries and anxieties, and the fear that I'll revert back to it. I think about it a lot, so my struggle is always there. But there are tools available these days to control that somewhat. So I'm going to go through a couple of those things. First and foremost, obviously, if you are doing the bookmakers, there is the high street self-exclusion scheme. In my opinion, it doesn't work, but it's there. You've got to be fairly disciplined and go in and actually introduce yourself. You sign up to this, within 6 weeks the shop have got some new staff or whatever. They don't recognise you, and away you go. So you've got to be disciplined in that sense to make yourself well known in the individual shops and casinos, land-based casinos and arcades and what have you. I mean, do give it a go. I mean, but my problem passed the bookies really and turned into online gambling at the casinos, and I'll go into that now. So my argument with online casinos was, it's fairly simple in a sense to keep people from using online gambling, because you need all the details of the person. It's KYC, know your customer, it's called. So in this sense, they should be finding out a lot about you. Excuse me, I just had a cup of coffee. They should know all about you and your personal details, email address, age, obviously your name and your address and so forth. So in theory, it's fairly easy to identify you, which in sense makes it fairly easy to restrict you. This worked on a basis that if you signed up to a casino and you felt you were gambling beyond your means, that you could take a break, self-exclude. Okay, this period worked from minimum of, depending where you went, 3 months up to a sort of maximum of 5. Some would let you do it permanently. But the issue with that was that you had to do it individually per site. Okay, so you'd sign up to say Sky Bet or what have you, self-exclude, and you'd be done. But then you just go like we've all done, and just open another account somewhere else. So the introduction of a one-stop self-exclusion scheme came into place tail end of last year now, called GamStop. I rallied and was speaking with my local MP and stuff about gambling addiction, and really pushed something like this. It just seemed the obvious way of dealing with it. It does work. I mean, it's a fantastic tool. A lot of the UK Gambling Commission licensed casinos are registered. GamStop seems to suggest that not all, but I mean, I've done my research and tried to locate a site that's not registered, and I just can't see it. So I would suggest that, if you're struggling online, I mean, you've probably heard of it, but if you haven't, it's a really useful place to go and get yourself registered too. So it's GamStop, GAMSTOP, GamStop. If you type that into Google, it'll probably come up with GameStop, which is an American, computer game store. But just make sure it's GamStop you're going to. Okay, register yourself there. like I say, it's a one-stop shop. Keep your credentials updated with them. So if you're changing, address and email addresses and stuff like that, phone number, what have you, keep them up to date. The more information you give them, it's just going to find you easier when you're trying to register. The other things, I've done in the past, obviously, banks, in my opinion, could really help out problem gamblers. There's a lot they could do, blocking transactions and so forth. I mean, currently, my long-term bank has been with NatWest, who really haven't helped me in any way. I discussed probably 5-6 years ago about what we could do. And in the end, they just kept offering me overdrafts and stuff, and credit cards and stuff. So, are the banks to blame? In a way, they are. But obviously, if you're going to fritter the money, you're the one that's responsible. So, but there is new banking. Okay, there's a company called Monzo, Monzo. Monzo. Look them up. You just do a small registration process, get yourself a card. It's a MasterCard. It's not a credit card, it's just a standard bank account. Do direct debits, everything a normal high street bank will do, but on their app they've got a special little button you slide across, and then you can no longer make gambling transactions from your account. Okay, really useful, works an absolute treat. I've not found one that it will accept through testing it. And again, it's a commitment thing. Okay, so if you're going to sign up to this, the denial in you will try and keep an account going. But I mean, just transfer your direct debits to this account, and standing orders, what have you. Get your money paid in, no problem at all. Like I say, it works just like a standard bank account. The app's fantastic, and get rid of your other cards. If you're going to commit to stopping, you've got to take the initiative and get the ball rolling. The denial for gamblers is the one of the biggest parts. Okay, I think, well, there's two parts. Sorry, I think the first to really look at and try and acknowledge in segments, because it's just so overwhelming. The whole process of stopping this is the thing that's become more close than any relationship you've ever had. I mean, it's just it just absorbs your life, and it is you. So the first thing for me I had to tackle was obviously the money I'd lost. Okay, it's lost, it's gone. I'm never going to get that money back unless I carry on gambling and win. The problem with that is, as I said earlier, it's not about the money. I mean, I could win that sort of money, but that only encourages me to carry on and come out ahead, which is for a problem gambler never going to happen. So the money that's gone is gone. So from the day you commit to stopping, it's whatever you've got left. If it's absolutely fuck all, or it's a little bit. That's what you're starting with, and away you go. Okay, so it is from that day, and the losses are lost. Okay, easier said than done, but that's a starting block to really realise what where you're going from, and to have something in your pocket, or at least your next payday coming in, or paycheck, whatever. That's it, you're off and running. So really try and work hard on understanding that them losses are gone. Okay. The second part for me is lost my train of thought now. So we've done the losses. Is working out how to avoid the gambling. Okay. Now it's everywhere. It's promoted on the TV and such. People will talk about it more than you would ever realise. You wouldn't think it'd be such a, but people are doing it all the time. You're never going to avoid it, and you're not going to keep out the way of it. But you've just got to be strong through it. I mean, you just got to realise that for me, I mean, to sum it up, I just understand that I'll never be able to gamble successfully. Okay, so um, a single bet is going to lead to, catastrophic consequences. Um, so I'm better off for not doing it. Um, and again, it's just, it all just sounds so easy, doesn't it? I'm never far away, gambling's never far away from my thoughts to this day. I still think about it, and in times of crisis, and these are the things that make you wonder why we all gamble. And I mean, it all boils down to, individual circumstances, I think, but there's probably a select few, and different people will fit into different categories, I should imagine. I've suffered with depression and stuff, but I've often wondered whether I'm depressed because I gamble or I gamble because I'm depressed. I don't know, but definitely for me it was a hideaway. I mean, gambling. I mean, I sit here today. I don't have a huge amount of friends, if any, to be honest with you. It's isolated me, or I've isolated myself because of it. I'm not as close with my family. I do see them and speak to them, but socially, I'm a bit of a. I'm still to this day very withdrawn from it. So it's the dark side of it is obviously, if it's I've looked at it many times, and I think, if it's raining for 10 days in a row, it's bleak. You're not gonna you don't think it's going to get any better, but we all know that the sun will come out in the end. And it's remembering that, that these dark times don't go on for forever. The sun has to come out, and it does for the gambler. Okay, but you've just got to get through those rainy days. And the important thing is that people without addiction, whether it be gambling, alcohol, drugs, whatever, there are these people still have bad days. And we may look at them as gamblers and idolise them and resent them somewhat, and think that they've got it perfect, but it's okay to have a bad day. And it's those bad days that might actually turn a gambler to gamble, but it's okay, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, I know people that don't gamble, don't drink, don't have any problem, but they still have those bad days, and you've got to look at that really and say, yeah, well, they haven't got the problems that that face people with addictions, but they're still having a crap day. Yeah. So that's another thing to acknowledge, that that it's okay to have that shitty day, because tomorrow will be better, or maybe not tomorrow, maybe the day after, but it's the rain thing. It will become sunny eventually. Um, Books wise, I mean, I've read countless books on stuff. I mean, I've become obsessed with probably questions that can't be answered, to be honest. But Alan Carr is famous for the non-smoking or quit smoking, book. He's translated that into sort of like a gambling version, if you like. The process is near on identical. Makes a lot of sense. It does make a lot of sense, and well worth a read. A lot of good stuff in there. He does sort of suggest that you've got to stick to him and don't listen to anything else. Just stick to that, which is quite hard to do. I think if you can merge snippets of information from wherever to build your own case, I mean, that's probably going to be more useful than not. There's a recent book out, is also called The Unbelievable Truth About Gambling. Guy's got 20, 25, 30 years experience in dealing with gambling, was a problem gambler in his youth. And I think there's some fantastic information in there, so that's well worth a read as well. Um, my point of this video really is it's for me is just to get my something off my back. I don't know what it is, I can't describe it, but gambling really does annoy me, as it probably does you. I mean, the one thing you in its worst you want to do is stop, and you can't. Now I have control over my gambling to a certain extent, bar these thoughts that sprout up occasionally. But I want to maybe do this blog and just I'm going to try and chuck as many videos up as I can when the feeling arises, and I'd love some feedback from people. But I've got an immense insight into how it works, and so have you as a problem gambler. I mean, you know the problem, but you just can't stop doing it. So I'm just gonna try and do this for me maybe as well, just to view them back and see how I'm feeling on specific times, and try and put some pattern to it as well. But along the way, I mean, these help. I mean, like I said at the beginning, I'd love to hear from you guys. Put some information down on the video below, and maybe some encouragement if they're any good. And if I don't get anything back, I'll stop doing it. But if it's helping in any way, and people want to hear from me and see what's going on, then obviously I'll continue to do them, and hopefully I can speak to some people along the way, and let's hopefully make some friends. You know what I mean? But trust me, if you're watching this and you're at rock bottom, you're not alone. The feelings that you're going through, we've all done it. Support groups as well. I mean, they've never really helped me, but I'm not discouraging it for you. Go and try the Gamblers Anonymous thing, and go to some meetings, and I'm not knocking it. It's fantastic. It's proven that it's worked for millions around the world. Okay, just because it wasn't for me personally doesn't mean to say it's not for you guys. I mean, go and try it. Go and sit in a meeting. It's fantastic people in these meetings that have been off gambling for countless years. Okay, been through it, done it. Everybody's story boils down to a familiar one, and they've all been through the same thing: the emotions, the family problems that it creates. So it's definitely worth listening to, and going to give it a go. Research is the best thing. Okay, so the more you can research, the more you can try and understand why we are like we are, and that's important, because to cure something, you've really got to understand the problem in the first place, and why we do it. But we all have a future, like I said at the beginning. Again, it's we were non-gamblers at some point in our life, so we can be non-gamblers again. I mean, we're not really sacrificing anything by giving up. Do you see what I say? We're not giving anything up. That's an important thing to work out. We've never done it in the first place, and all of a sudden we're doing it to excess. So it is as simple. I know it isn't, but it should be as simple as, well, we just don't do it anymore. And I mean, as a gambler, if your family are aware and you've had rock bottom and bad points, then we all know. I mean, my family said it, we'll just stop doing it, Darren, but it isn't as simple as that. But on the flip side, it is. Okay. Once you understand it, once you put these things into place to stop you every day, just becomes that little bit easier. Just live for the day. I know everyone says it, and it used to drive me insane, all of these repetitive bits that come from some gambling journal everywhere, but you have to acknowledge that, you know, unfortunately it's true, and that is the denial. The biggest thing about a gambler is the denial of it, and making them excuses about why we shouldn't stop rather than working out why we should. The reasons that come about why we shouldn't stop is now's not the right time. I've got this, there's a bit of stress at work, there's what have you. I've just packed up smoking, I can't give the two up together. You know, it's just a crazy thing. Your brain, you just want to stop, and you just make all these excuses to why you shouldn't, instead of working and channeling that hard energy to stopping. Yeah. And that's the frustration, I think, you know. But there is a brighter future. Okay. I mean, you'll always be a problem gambler, my friend, and that is the extent of it. But it's learning to manage that problem. I mean, one thing before I go, I think that has helped me as well is trying to put this illness, as problem gambling is explained, into pain. I mean, if you had a really painful illness, you know, let's say severe arthritis maybe, you know, and it was constantly hurting you. But if you stopped doing something in particular, the pain ceased, you'd do it. The pain we get from gambling, we don't need no medication. We can stop that pain. But because it's not really hurting like a toothache, the arthritis, you know, it's an emotional pain rather than a physical pain. We sort of just tolerate it, but it's torture. We're better than that. You're better than that, and so am I. So you know, just you deserve happiness in your life. You deserve to, you know, get on and improve the quality of your life no end. Are you fed up of feeling shit? Is the big question. But I wish you all the best. I mean, like I say, this is a little snippet. I'm going to carry on doing some bits and bobs over the forthcoming weeks, and hopefully, you know, if I can get a little following and a niche group, and I will answer you. So please do put something below. I bleated on and probably spoke a load of old crap really, but again, it's just highlighting a few things there that you may not be aware of, and you've probably watched it and thought, oh, there's another prick trying to you know, tell me how to quit. I'm not telling you how to quit, I'm just telling you, you know, things, you know, that I've done and things that I've got to acknowledge, and I mean, like I said, they might help you. Okay, so get in touch if you want to. Just leave a thing underneath, and I will get back to you. I'm intrigued to see how this, you know, might pan out. I mean, probably get about 7 viewers or something, but let's see where it goes. I wish you all the best. Stay strong. Okay, and work for today, buddy. All right. So just work today. Tomorrow's another day. Just be strong again tomorrow. Okay. You're gonna have blips and blobs and whatever, they're fine. Okay, just remember it's them, you know, days that you don't feel so great. Everybody gets them. Okay, it's not uncommon, it's a normal human process. Okay, to have a crap day, and the denial makes you think because I'm a gambler that's why I'm getting that crap day. It's not. You're getting that crap day because you're human, and we all get them. Okay, so don't think you have to go and have a gamble to self-medicate. What you're going through is natural. Okay, you know, if you have a barney with your missus or your partner, boyfriend, whatever, that's normal. People that don't gamble have that. Okay, if you're going through, you know, you've had an unexpected bill come through and money's stressful and what have you, don't gamble. Normal people get that as well. Okay, your car's blown up, you need to put repairs. Non-gamblers get that problem. Okay, somebody's passed away in the family. Non-gamblers have that. Okay, the cats had to be put down. Normal people, non-gamblers, suffer with that as well. Okay, so all of these circumstances are just life in general. Okay, but it's just staying strong and appreciating that I don't have to gamble to get me through that, because non-gamblers don't. Okay, and you were not once a non-gambler like I was. Okay, so signing off. In GA terms, I suppose, and I like it. Signing off, Darren, and I am a problem gambler. All the best, and I'll speak to you soon. Thanks.